finish. And for some of these guys that didn't get their runs in spot on the first available moment, they have been absolutely destroyed by the conditions here at Silverstone. They haven't been forgiven by this British weather.
Oh my god, finally. I got it.
Oh, let's go.
Let's just get into it. Alright. After a very dramatic and late, very, very late start. Sorry, obviously the lobby started a couple of 12 minutes late, and we've had very, very difficult technical difficulties in the commentary box. So, we are here in quali. It has rained, and obviously no one's going to improve in the rain, so everybody's sat on the slick tyres as the fastest time they can do. So, Balance takes pole with a 1 at 25.125 here at the Northamptonshire circuit. If you want to take us through the grid.
Valentilic has some pole position for the British Grand Prix, followed by compatriot Peter Zalan on the front row. Zach Miles starts from P3, and Danny Perro in the Haas starts from 4th place. The winner of the last social race, Boris, starts from 5th. Walter is 6th. Harry Nunn's in the AlphaTauri right behind him in 7th. Balance teammate in the Red Bull EV, 8th. Anthony Sokolowski in the Ferrari is 9th. German Polyakov rounds out your top 10, and we will see you for the race. We'll see you then. 26 laps of the British Grand Prix. We will have a cracking race. It's a wide track, a lot of overtaking. Thankfully, the start are cleared for the start of what promises to be a fantastic race. Still down, or
I don't think everybody's ready up. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Well, here is your grid. A quick scroll down. We only got up to the top 10. Nils Holmgren, sorry if I said that wrong, in the McLaren P11. Marcel Biega in the Mercedes P12. Ollie in the Williams P13. Ski 1 in the Haas P14. Jaros in the Williams P15. A P16 gives us Barbos, and the race is starting. So, formation lap around the circuit. Red Bull starting from pole with Aston Martin behind him. Is that Zach who raced last time in the Alpine, or was that somebody different? The Alpine who won it, I believe.
No, it's a different guy. This isn't the guy, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll just round out the top 10, the bottom half of the field. Nils Holmgren in the McLaren starts 11th from Marcel Biega in the as the lead Mercedes. Down in 12th place, Ollie in the Williams from 13th. Ski 1 in the Haas starts 14th. Maximilian Jaros starts 15th. Barbosa, the other Aston, 16th. Dorian Vdowicki in the Alfa Romeos. The Alfa Romeos lock out the 9th row off the grid, as Bibin Daniel, the lobby host, starts 18th. Hydra, 19th. And F1 Damien rounds off the grid here at the British Grand Prix. And the strategy for this race is likely to be, I think, a medium to hard. It's a long pit lane. It is high tire, but it's a very long pit lane. And you lose something in the region of 25 to 30 seconds. But here we've got it now from Pirelli. It's a soft to the medium on lap 11 to 13 as the fastest option, and a medium to hard as the next option. And looking at the strategy variation here, a lot of the field on the hard or on the medium tires.
Always a one-stop round here, really. Obviously, last year, qualifying gave teams extra soft, so we saw a lot more of different of a different strategy from different teams because the softs were there to play. Obviously, same in this situation, but that one pair of softs was used before the weather changed conditions. So, obviously, we've got pole position, balance starting on the hard tyres. 2 seconds. We have hard, second, medium. It looks like half the grid is over half the grid. Sorry, are on the hard compound tyres, and the people who are looking to make a long shot and possibly go for an undercut on the medium tyres are back behind the Red Bull on pole position.
It's a short run down to the first corner, but there's a heavy braking zone quite a long way down the road at turn 3 entry. It could get chaotic here. It could get crowded. That first sector is part of the new complex in 2010, but the British Grand Prix is set to get underway. The lights are off here, so it's on, and away we go. Ballantella gets with a good start, but look at Zach Miles. He's already on the gearbox of the Red Bull. He's got past Peter Zalan, and they make contact going into the first corner. That's a terrible start for Peter Zalan. He's already lost places. Even the Red Bull having a little bit of an incident as a relatively well-behaved first lap, and as I say that, German Polyakov gets spun around by his teammate at turn 3 into 4, and currently so far, Ballantella goes from Zach Miles as they head side by side, and what a move! Zach Miles using those medium tires to perfection, and he leads the British Grand Prix from 3rd on the grid. From Ballantella, Danny Pearl, Vera and Boris, Peters Zalan with a poor start and a bit of contact at turn 1. And the two AlphaTauris side by side in the cops, and they have proved them. And Harry Nunce takes the mature line and backs out of it. We've seen that it's gone wrong in the past there. Just ask Max Verstappen about it. As Peter Zalan on that hard tire, really struggling, and Walter is all over the back of him. So yeah, they head down the hangar straight now for the first time. Zach Miles leads by quite a comfortable margin. So those medium tires quite powerful off the line. And as we see a good exit there from Walter, he's going to get Peter Zalan on the run into the final corners. He's going to send it on Boris, but he's going to lock up and bounce all over the exit curb. And that's him losing multiple positions.
And we got a loss of traction there as he's trying to make it round the final corner of the club corner. He lost traction, he's at the correct end. He's lost another position to Ollie in the Williams. As we go through the farm complex of corners, it's very fast sweeping right hand here. You're going to get all the curb on the inside, and you're going to follow it round on the left side very slow. You don't want to get on the power too early, don't want to lose and get too much rear spin and lose time. So on the inside now you can see the two bigger sausage sort of curbs now. You can't put the underfloor of your car over it to gain pace. Now you have to go round it. It's not fantastic if you're trying to be fast, but it's better for racing, which we do love to see.
And here we have some good fighting in the back of the field. F1 Damien making up places. Jaros has lost the place as in the midst of lap 1 carnage. Thing there, Antoni Sokolowski in the Ferrari. Ooh, and that's a spin. That is Walter. That's his race completely gone down the toilet. He's round at Cops here on the opening lap, and that is, I think, him done and out of this race.
You see that gap now between Zach and Ballant is up to 1.2 seconds now. You can see Zach using the softer compound of tyres to just get his foot down, get away, open the gap. So when he comes in for his pit stop, which will obviously be earlier due to the high deg on these sort of tyres, also the fastest lap there with the 129.1, he's going to get as far as in front to have the biggest gap. So when he comes out the pit lane, it's shorter for him to catch up on the fresher tyres to Ballant.
It's going to be an interesting one. The game says you can go to around lap 16 on the medium tire, but is the loss of time there really worth it? Hydra gets a 3-second penalty, spins at the farm complex, and that's a sort of a harmless spin, no damage, but it hasn't done his race any good. And he's spun a third time in about, and he's reset to track, which
tires I can assume.
Overheating.
He's going to go again. Keeps on the road this time, I believe. So until he gets past Chapel onto the 1 in straight, and he's fine.
Yeah, he's just fine. Zach Miles is leading. He took the lead on the opening lap, and that gap has gone up to 1.3 seconds from balance. So this track is one that's notoriously tough on tires. Silverstone, one of the fastest, a lot of long corners, a lot of fast corners that just chew to those tires. Do you think, George, we will see someone going in for a bold overcut, getting onto that soft tire, and then making it work? Anything can happen. As Polyakov spins again at the third to last corner, and that is with Dorian. They've both gone round, and they've rejoined harmlessly in 17th and 18th.
Well, to your question, I mean, I can't see the top 10 doing it. I can see them staying where they are, playing it safe with the strategy. But we haven't seen the pace that these people have, obviously. They had that one lap on softs, maybe two, but we didn't get to see the track evolution that came with it, so we can't see the pace that these drivers have. So you could, Hydra, he could be one of the fastest, but he's just got really unlucky in the terms of things. The rain came too early for him, and he just didn't get his bank lap out in time. So we could see one of these really fast drivers. Could be Damien, could be Barossa or Jaros. He could go for this overcut on the softs, and he could probably ace it, but we can't say anything until we see it.
And it's going to be a matter of who can manage their tires the best. As I've said, Silverstone is one of the toughest tracks on the tires. A lot of punishment, a lot of overheating around here. As Danny gets past Ballant into Stowe corner. And that gap is roughly saying the same that the medium tires are starting to fade a little bit on Zach Miles' end.
See,
as it is lap 5.
Jumping up and down. That gap is jumping up and down from 1 second and a tenth to, and it's gone
Evie
down. Now
getting
it's under
spun
a
around,
second
and he
now.
has found an interesting way to get into the pit lane, but
He left the
he's
session as well.
completely rage quit too. German Polyakov is also coming in, the Ferrari driver.
It's going to be an early pit stop, as you say. Could it be to... That won't be actually.
Hydra.
He's going to go for a free stop, I know. It's got to be a free stop from there. No way he can carry another... Yeah, he's going to meet... He can't take
It'll be a
medium.
two-stop strategy, I think. It's a front wing replacement. It will be a long afternoon for the Ferrari team. We see it's on to the medium tires, and he
Danny
could get
Pirro
those.
as well. Look at the gap. It's drastically shortened during the time he's overtaken Ballant. Obviously, we're just behind the section of the track where he was overtaken by the Haas. So it's been a lap now, and he's caught up a second, which is fantastic for him. He's now going to have DRS on Zach Miles of the Alpine in the Haas as we go down the hanger straight into Stowe corner. He finishes the move, closes the door before he gets a chance to say no. As he comes in towards Vale now, final sequence of corners through Club, and he's going to finish the lap. Lap 5 is going to be down as his of leading the race.
It is an interesting strategy around here. I think the medium tires are definitely past their best. They've probably gone to about 15 to 20%, and 20%, as you know, is the natural drop-off point of the tires. They drop off about a second, so could the strategy onto those mediums be coming back to bite Zach Miles? A gap to Danny Pirro, it's already nearly half a second, but at least Zach has got a straight. He can close up a little bit and maybe think for a move, maybe charges the saves tires, and from there.
I wouldn't write Ballant off though, because obviously he's been off the pace since he lost the lead of the race, and I can assume he's been dialing it down a little bit, using his brain, thinking if I can conserve these tyres, charge my battery up, and it's played perfectly to his hand. Because if he's thinking this, he's thinking, okay, if I let Dan Pirro take me over, there's a perfect 2-car battle in front of me. They can collide, they slow each other down, and now I've got my full battery, the better tyres, I can go past them and make the most of what I've just done.
It's an interesting three-way fight here with Danny Pirro, Zach Miles, and Ballant in the Red Bull. And all three of them have very good pace. 2 attempts now. Will Zach Miles reclaim the lead? Yes, he does. But Danny tries to hold it down the outside. Can't really pull it off. So Zach Miles retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix.
Don't write Danny off though. I reckon as soon as we get back to the Wellington Straight with the DRS open, I can see him zooming straight back past into Brooklands, and we're going to see the same thing again back on the Hangar Straight. I think it's going to be a constant battle between these guys, and they're going to burn each other's tyres out down to the rubber, down to the rims. We're going to see Balance zoom past, I reckon, as a safety car on lap 7 of the British Grand Prix. Where has this origin from?
It's coming from Dorian, who crashed at Stowe. He's down in 17th place, the Alfa Romeo, but this has thrown up a massive spanner into the works. Anyone that wants to pit from any one of the hard tires has effectively been thrown out of this race due to them needing the extra stop, and the pit lane here, very long, over 30 seconds. Unless there's another safety car, I think those on the medium tires are going to be the luckier ones. They have the hard tire available. They can probably go to the end of the race without much problem. So I think we might see an interesting battle here. As lap 7 of the British Grand Prix, the safety car is out. And we might see some people on the hards diving it in early, very early actually, to try getting anything done.
It's going to be some very, very interesting turns of strategy here. Although Dorian has boxed first, made a very slow stop as he had his front wing change. But I think because he's managed to get in on that first lap of the safety car deployed, if everybody else pulls into the box, like we see Boris and the Aston Martin of Zalan do, I reckon he might be able to gain a couple of paces in the pit lane.
Interestingly, Zach Miles is not pitting, even though he was one of the first to. He started on the medium tire, and that tire probably doesn't have much more peak performance left in it, only for 3-4 more laps. So
yeah, we have.
It'll all depend on.
And what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 medium runners in the pit lane and 2 hard. So this is going to mean that possibly Boris and Zalan might, and Walter, may attempt to take the medium to the end. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be hoping on another safety car to come out so they can go on, bolt a pair of softs on and go to the end. Other than that, they're going to have to go for a second stop. And I think the people who pitted onto the hards, they have a chance of taking them to the end. But the last couple of laps, they're going to be struggling for grip and a loss of pace.
Okay, so we will get an interesting race here. Zach Miles on the medium tire, it's past its best, and it could be that he is doing a medium to soft overcut on everybody, but the softs will die early. It's a qualifying tire with a bit more durability than last game. Yeah. It'll still die early. It's not going to last at full speed until the remainder of this race. So let's see what Zach Miles really does. Maybe he pits. Hydra spins under the safety car, takes a trip through the grass, and is back down to last place.
You're going to see the gap close up again, and this is going to play perfectly into Balance hands, I believe. Obviously, Zach's on the 7-lap old medium tyres now, so they're going to begin the degradation and the loss of pace very soon. I can see it dropping off fully around lap 10. Obviously, we've seen a little bit of the pace drop off, but I think we're going to see full pace drop off very, very soon. We've got Dan and Ballon, who are on the hards. Dan's been pushing, as we've seen the battle he's had with Zach for the past couple of laps, and then Ballon has been sticking behind. I can assume conserving his tyres due to the gap being a little bit bigger than he would like it to be, but I don't know. But if he has these hard tyres going to play into his hands, I reckon he can go for a 2-lap or so overcut, depending on how fast he is compared to the new tyre runners. But, you know, we'll see what happens after the safety car comes in.
We'll have an interesting few laps on this behind after the safety car. So many people on fresh tyres that have over a second's worth of pace advantage on the leaders here. As we see, there's a lot of time to get lost. There's a lot of time to lose by pitting early, and there's also a lot of time to gain in this race, which means that we could see some people on an alternate strategy.
Just looking down the list of penalties, we have Hydra on a 9-second, Evie on an 8, and Walter on a 3. Neither of them must be able to be served in the pit lane when they come in for their pit stops, as they're not in a 5. Looking at position changes as well, we see Walter with a massive loss of 9 positions, so he's gone from P4 to P15. I believe that was due to the spin he had on the opening lap. Also with the Aston Martin of Zalon, he had a 9 position loss, so he's lost P2 there, I believe. And the biggest gain really here is Damon, who started P20 and ended up P13 as a safety car is coming in on lap 9 of the Silverstone Grand Prix to re-begin racing on lap 10.
It's not a long final sector, which means the restart is pretty short, but we'll see how it all plays out then.
We're going to see when Zach is going to put his foot down. We see him using the traction control. There's no traction control to his ability to get his maximum wheel spin. As I believe he's put his foot down and he's going. He's gone.
Early.
He's gone early.
He's done it early and he's gone wide too.
5 tenths is a good start, but is Danny going to be able to catch up to him on this sequence of the final corners? Through club corner he goes onto the Hamilton straight. 6 tenths starting lap 10. Safety car is in. Overtaking is now permitted. DRS won't be enabled for another 2 laps after lap 10. So it's all going to be down to the ERS, the tyres, and getting on the power and throttle as early as possible.
It'll all be down to slipstream, and let's see, we have another spin. German Polyakov is gone at turn 2. He's reset to the track, and that, I think, is his race done for the Ferrari driver. And we see Hydra dropping back a little bit. But Zach Miles did exactly what he needed to do on the restart. He got his foot down, he did the right thing, and he's 6 tenths up in front.
Ski 1.
Ooh, it's a Haas.
He goes round in the middle of left field. It was a very slow corner, very tedious. You're sat there waiting to get out to put your foot down. Very slow. I think it's one of the slowest corners on the calendar, apart from the lowest hairpin in Monaco.
It is not as slow as you think. It's still taking it about 120 kilometers an hour.
Corner, it's horror. It's a dragging corner. I wouldn't say slow. It's a very draggy corner, but it feels really slow when you're going through it. He's gone round in a battle with the Williams of Ollie and the Aston Martin of Zalan.
Oh, they made contact. That's a huge spin for Zalan at Stowe. That is a high-speed spin, and thank the Lord probably there was tarmac there, because if that was a gravel trap, Zalan would probably not have got out of it.
And Boris takes the fastest lap of the race with a 1:28.95 on the medium tyres. I believe they are brand new, as we see Jaros dive into the pit lane, as we see Hydra get a 5-second time penalty. Jaros driving into the pit lane with the Williams. He's got the hard compounded tyres on in the 35 miles per hour pit lane.
Hydra,
very slow. And he comes into his pit box. What's he getting?
Hydra right now is up to 27 seconds of penalties.
Is he actually?
27 seconds, which is
qualification.
And needs another 30 seconds more. Barbosa in the Aston takes a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
See, Dan is closing the gap now. It's been a 10th in the last couple of corners down. It's going down to 2 now, 3 Magnus and Beckett's. The Haas is chasing the Alpine of Zach Miles, coming through to the Hanger Straight. DRS is still not enabled until next lap. So you see the slipstream in action. It's not as strong around this circuit because it's a high downforce. There's not as much dragging you along, but
slipstream at Silverstone, a bit of a high downforce track. DRS is very powerful as Boris gets past Harry Nuns, and the Alpha and his teammate will need to do that soon. DRS is enabled, and the straights here at Silverstone aren't particularly long, only about 700 meters. And when you compare that to newer tracks on the calendar like Baku, oh, Zach Miles there making a mistake at turn 3. He's had a poor exit, and that's put Danny all over him. But back to the point, the straights at Silverstone aren't the longest on the calendar.
And
For
here
a
goes
track
Danny down the inside on the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. He gets the move done, closes the door before Zach can say anything about it. But Zach is right back on his tail. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, which is now cleared. It's now back. I believe it's an Alpine, isn't it? A Hydra, yes.
Hydra going really slow.
Corner. It's 1 and 3 now. Yeah, but Dan. Oh my lord, Dan is still in the lead of the race by 4 tenths now into Mags and Beck as he goes. Don't want to lose traction. Don't want to be too slow, but you are going to come onto the back of the Hanger Straight DRS zone. There's a little overcorrection there, but Zach's going to be on his gearbox very, very soon with the strong DRS. Is he actually? Going to have 3
He's
temps.
not.
He's not.
Nils Holmgren finally gets past Harry Nuns, but look at the difference. 1.7 seconds to Boris. As Antoni Sokolowski there, losing 2 places. Barbosa. Ooh, Antoni with a bit of a snap there. Let's see. Into Club. So Antoni and Barbosa make a bit of contact. And the Ferraris then squeezed off onto the curbs. Damon is now side by side as they head down into the first corner into Abbey, and Damien takes a mature decision and backs out of it. Doesn't usually go there if you try to fight.
Very good racecraft from Damon there, not acknowledging that he has to back out to remove any threat of crashing himself out of the race. He's got more chance of scoring points than being DNF'd. But we see Ballant, I believe. Boris has overtaken Ballant down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands.
It's an overtake, and Ballant telecasts his race just. And now Boris is going to get past Zach Miles here. Is he? He doesn't do it. You can ask Max Verstappen how well an overtake at Cops can go. And Boris doesn't try to end his race off in the wall there. But back to the point.
Boris right on the gearbox of Zach now, going through Cops Corner. He's right,
look at that
nearly
exit.
touching very fast. Is he going to have enough DRS? But Zach is pulling away. Very,
absolutely
very fast.
Runs away there with the overtake. Down into Stowe. Zach Miles retakes the lead again.
A very, very fantastic battle we're seeing.
And he comes into the pits. That's an undercut. If I've seen one, that's a bold undercut.
Followed in by Ballant as well.
Ballant, yes, getting off those hards. It'll be Red Bull versus Alpine here in the pits.
So, what we've seen there is, despite Zach's pace against Dan and Ballant was on the hards and Zach was on the medium. So Zach's managed to stint his mediums out to the length of Ballant's hards, which is very good. So obviously he's been doing something really well with those mediums to keep him in shape and keep that pace up.
See that there.
The gap is closed in the pit lane.
Gap is 1.2 now, and Ballant doesn't get Zach's DRS, but one is on the medium, the other is on the hard. I think it'll be a close. The gap will close up as this race progresses.
Yeah, we're going to see the fresh rubber of Ballant's mediums are going to cut into Zach's time, especially around these long sort of handed corners that take a while to go through. You know, a lot of heat and wear into the dragging tyre on the opposite side of the corner. I reckon we're going to be able to pull it through, and Ballant's probably going to be able to take the lead of the race with these fresh tyres. But towards the end, that's a different story. The mediums are going to wear out, but the hards are going to stick. It's the same thing. It's going to be switched around what Zach had with Ballant.
No one else is coming into the pits, so a bit powerful undercut here for Zach Miles. As Antoni in the Ferrari gets a 5-second and rage quits Hydra. 25 seconds. As we see Dorian and Beaters Alan fight. Beaters Alan takes the position there, but he goes a little wide at turn 1. As we get a bit more fighting as Zach Miles versus Ballant Telecash. This German versus Zach Miles versus Ballant Telecash. The battle of the Titans. As Nils Holmgren gets passed by Ollie. The battle of the Titans, however, as they head down through farm and then down into turn 3 they go, and then into the loop. No accident.
We're going to have DRS on Zach down the Wellington Straight. see what he can make of it. Nothing into Brooklands.
He's probably going to be down into the hangar straight. This Ballant has the fastest first sector of anyone in this race. That's a purple, and that's a statement.
A lot better traction. A lot better traction than Zach there from Ballant. He's going to be able to make it down into Cop's corner off the old pit straight. He's not taking it flat either. That's just strange.
It's not an overtaking opportunity as... ooh, and we see Danny. And that's a safety car. Danny is into the pits. And there is an incident somewhere as Hydra's done the Antonio Giovinazzi in 2019.
It's just, fantastic, fantastic for Danny. He's managed. The safety cars come out. His tires are dying. Oh my lord, I can't.
It's
played beautifully into his hands
for him, as we see people diving onto the mediums and Walter onto the soft, Damien onto the medium, Dorian onto the medium. And what will that do for Boris? He's going to now stretch out a set of mediums 18 laps into this race, and that's...
Zach's boxed again. What?
He's probably gone onto the softs. He doesn't have much. He's gone onto the medium tires, interestingly.
That's going to set him back quite a lot. But
Ballant and Danny... Ballant and Zach here absolutely shafted by the safety car. And these safety cars have shaken up the grid order by a lot. We see right now a lot of drivers on penalties, but not everybody. Barbosa has a drive-through penalty, which means everybody ahead of him will move up one spot.
So that's 3 DNFs in the race now. 2 safety cars on lap 16. The second one's come out. No, lap 15, sorry. We've seen Zach and Ballant have a fantastic battle after their pits on lap 14. We've seen Zach re-dive back into the pit lane to bolt on a fresh pair of mediums after boxing 2 laps ago. Danny is played perfect to Danny's hand as we see Boris dive into the pit lane now in front of the safety car, followed by
everybody's
Ollie.
Firing it in.
Well, everybody's in. So this is going to mean Danny's going to be... Oh, no, he's not. Zannon's going to take the lead of the... No. Yeah.
Will be Barbosa taking the lead, but he has a penalty. So Peter Zalan is a net race leader here from Danny and Ballant. So it's a solid recovery from Peter Zalan after a terrible start and a high-speed spin. But this race is set for a dramatic finish, nonetheless.
I hate to say it, but I think Zach boxing again. I think he should have kept the hards all the way. He's not going to get past this massive pack. He's going to be expecting to. He's going to get past a few of them, but they're all going to get past the exit white line of the pit lane before he gets a chance to overtake any more. So he only makes it to P13 after boxing, trying to get an undercut if there was another, everybody else boxing. And I don't think he's going to have a shot at winning this race anymore. I think boxing, again, for the second time, has ruined his chances of winning the Grand Prix.
Let's see. Zach Miles, if he wants to reclaim the lead he held in the first stint, he will have to do a miracle. There are 10 laps to go here in the British Grand Prix. It is going to be a long one as Ski 1 is catching back up to the field. But we will have a dramatic ending to this 26-lap Grand Prix. As race leader, Barbosa has a drive-through penalty to serve. Peter Zalan, his teammate in the Aston, is in second. Danny, the former race leader, is in third. Ballant is in the Red Bull, always up at the front. He's up into fourth place. But let's see, will the safety car come into the pits? And it will probably not unless someone catches up. That's Ski 1. Not be coming in just now. It will be a bit later. And it's gone past the pit lane, so it'll be in at the end of the next lap as Ballant almost comes into the pits. That was a dummy.
Safety car. It's been a 3-lap safety car now, isn't it? So I think because people are boxed and we see Bib and Daniel boxing now, I think this is going to be the final lap of the safety car. And we're going to get racing with 19 laps. 19 laps complete. And we're going to go racing for 7 laps after, due to my calculations. Yes, correct.
High speed end to this British Grand Prix. Could Zach Miles recover some of the places he's lost? Or will maybe Peter Zalan recover his race and win it in style?
What is Barbossa's penalty? Drive through. So Barbossa's going to have to box 1 lap before the final lap of the Grand Prix. So he can't do it during the safety car period either. So that's probably why he hasn't. He's going to go... Oh, he's going to go all the way down. If he boxes anytime soon after the safety car where the whole queue's bunched up, he is going to go down to P17 if Bib and Daniel doesn't catch up. But obviously under the safety car period there's a certain delta the cars have to follow. And Bib and Daniel has been given the clear to push to catch up to the back of the safety car queue. As he rode on board with Barbossa now weaving to get his tyres up behind the safety car into Maggots and Beckett's, and not much going on really under the safety car period.
So we see then Bib and Daniel is set to catch right back up before the start of the final sector, which should give the all clear for the safety car to pit to. And yes, it will be in at the end of this lap. It will be 7 full throttle laps of the Silverstone circuit for a dramatic ending. The counties of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire have never seen racing this frenetic. We will be in for a cracking end to this race.
When is
See then, will Barbossa dump it? He's leaving it much later than Zach Miles, which in the Aston Martin, has he left it late?
5/10 to his teammate behind. Closing, it's closing.
Closing up, but
And
it doesn't mean anything.
Car.
Ooh, another.
No, is it? No.
No.
No. Ooh.
No safety car. We just got trolled a little bit.
So here's a yellow flag going, set to 1.
There. Ooh, Barbossa going a bit deep. Danny Perro in the Haas sends it down the inside of turn 3. That's a distraction move, and Danny takes second.
But
Barbossa.
Zalan is on the outside of this move. Can he keep the foot in the door? He goes the outside to get the quicker line. He doesn't, and he goes too deep, and he goes off the track. But Walter is round. No, Ballon is round the side of him. Sorry, and gets the final spot on the podium.
Ooh, big accident at Woodcote. Walter is gone. That's a big high-speed crash. And that might bring out another safety car, which thankfully doesn't.
Now the gap from Damon now, so P4 to P3 is now 1 second. So Damon's going to have to put his foot down.
Takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. He's retaken it. Allen's on the inside. Barbossa's on the outside. And Barbossa just doesn't have the tire grip to hold on. And I think he's going to serve a drive-through penalty now. Serving a drive-through, and that is the end of his race.
All the way down.
He's dropped off. He's dropped off massively. Ballin there, the fastest on track. As F1 Damien, of all people, is up into 3rd after starting 20th.
Fantastic race for him.
Zach Miles
still not enabled.
Just look at Zach Miles, though. German Polyakov sends it, and that is a lot of chaos. That's a lot of chaos. As Peter Zalai goes round, Nils Holmgren goes round. Who else?
They're still racing back there. Better traction, better speed. Down the Wellington straight into Brooklands he goes, and he takes P12 of the race. He's going to try and fight. We've got 3 seconds to make up in 6 laps to get into the points paying positions. But we see the gap from Danny to Ballon rising to 7/10 of a second. Going into Max and Beckett's DRS is still not enabled, so he's got to wait to the end of this race. He's got to keep the gap under 1 second so he has a chance to overtake him with the drag reduction system.
Boris, however, look at him. He's making our places thick and fast. And now F1 Damien is up next on the target list. The Mercedes driver not going to get overtaken into here, but
a lot of chaos on going behind as Dorian takes over Ollie, and so does Harry Nuns as Ollie goes down 2 positions. And we see Zach Miles joining the back of this battle now. Battling. DRS chain will form, and a fast lap goes to Danny. So DRS chain will form from P3.
Is Zach Miles on for a podium today, I wonder, after... If Zach Miles gets a podium today, that will be an amazing recovery. There's so much fighting up into the loop section. Harry Nuns runs a little wide, and that might invite Ollie for a bit of a cutback, but he doesn't have the space there on the exit. Harry versus Ollie here. DRS has been enabled. Ballant doesn't get past Danny into Brooklands any time. And not a lot of overtaking. Damien taking some wide lines, maybe some defensive lines to get past Boris, I think, to try and block Boris. Has been now head down into Cop's corner, and this is a corner where a lot of chaos has happened before. As we head right down, Boris doesn't decide to fight it, and thankfully he does not end his race up in the gravel trap.
See, Boris, he's gonna have to follow in so closely to a car in front through Maggers and Beckers is a challenge. At least I find it a challenge, trying to not hit the back, trying to not end their race, trying to not get damage on your car. But DRS is now open for Boris, chasing the final podium position.
However, look at this. Harry Nuns goes onto the gravel on the entry to Stowe Corner. As we now see Harry Nuns going down the outside of Dorian Dowicki into the club, into the Vale Corner. It turns into club, and he gets P5.
Fantastic move. But the issue is, you see he's on the softs. Those softs are going to die off very quickly. He's going to reach a couple of laps of the race, and I can see him tumbling down the order due to lack of traction. We see it there. He's gone wide. He's been able to keep the traction through the first corner.
We're in there.
And again here,
Harry, some good fighting. Harry getting a bad exit, but Dorian gets an even worse exit. And let's see Boris versus Damien. And this is going to be a straightforward overtake. The Mercedes driver doesn't have it in his tanks to defend the McLaren any longer. Zach Miles there.
Ollie's off the track. Yeah, Ollie went off.
Ooh, and that's contact. That's big contact. Zach Miles is onto the gravel. Key one.
Oh!
And Daka spun.
Zach Miles. He's been hit off. He's out of the race. That's a retirement.
He's out. He's done. And that's a virtual safety car.
Out on lap 22. Zach Miles with contact with, I believe it was the Ferrari of German. He's collided over the rear left wheel, and he's gone straight into the barrier. And a full safety car is out on lap 20.
It's a full safety car.
So, interesting strategy now. Who's going to dive, take the risk to go on to the soft tyres, see this race out with a bang? If I was the top leaders, I wouldn't, as Danny doesn't do the idea. Neither does Ballant. Neither does Boris. Does Damien. Damien does not.
Doesn't want to ruin P4.
You tricked me then. With a little dummy tried to. But Marcel Biega does.
That's interesting. A lot of people up here with penalties. Maybe one of these goes up. Zalan too.
Only two are going to take the gamble, and they are both rear midfield runners. So, if they are able to bolt these softs on, get a fantastic start, cut through the field, they might just be able to get into the high scoring points.
It'll be an interesting ending. 3 safety cars in this British Grand Prix. A lot of chaos, a lot of collisions. But most importantly, some really good battling.
That's 5 retirements now. Zach Miles is probably going to be absolutely gutted with that. He's had a fantastic race. Obviously, he boxed again for the second time, which cut him back. And then he's only just got himself ready back into the battle of the race. And now he's got himself in the midst of it. He's in the middle of it, and he's had contact, and he's being pushed into the barrier, which is really unfortunate for him. But
it's going to be a sad ending, but
not much you can do
for Zach Miles' race. And I said he was going to get on the podium, but well, that's commentators' curse. Barbosa pits. Bibin Daniel is in for the soft tire, which means that we will get some high-speed action here at Silverstone. We'll get probably 2 laps of racing, the final 2 laps. Here, this wonderful classic venue. And what a race it has been, and what a race it promises. Let's see then, who will win the British Grand Prix?
Oh. So, if we look down the field, we've got the tyre graph up. We've got oldest mediums here are Ballant in P2, sorry, with 9 laps old. Danny Pereira 7, who is leading the Grand Prix as it stands. Boris with a 6 laps. Damien and Dorian with 7. And we also have German with 7 lap old mediums with a penalty with it. Harry Nunn.
It's a 7 lap old softs. Sorry about that.
Yep. What did I say? Mediums.
Yeah.
6 lap softs as well for Harry Nuns. And then down the order, you got 3, 7, 8, 7 for Ollie, Ski, and Nils on the mediums. And then we have the bottom 4 who have recently boxed onto the softs to finish the race off with a bang.
And we will see then, will Bib and Daniel catch up? Because this is the last lap of the safety car. It cannot go out from any... It will not do any less than 2 laps of racing here. We need the final 2 laps. It will be a full sprint all the way to the checkered flag. It will be a high-speed battle. I think Bib and Daniel may not actually get up there and catch back up to the leading group. Barbosa will, but is Bib and Daniel going to catch up to wrap up the field, I wonder? As we see Harry Nunn's taking a bit of an interesting line through Luffield. A long lap penalty style there, adopted for, I think, World Superbikes. Or British Superbikes. Let's see, Bib and Daniel, only a few more corners behind the field. I think he might just catch up. But if he does, then... If he doesn't, then, well, as his race probably gone in the bin. Let's see, then Danny Pearl in the Haas is going to take control of this race. He has the authority to pick up, to get on the power as soon as it possibly can. And the safety car will be in at the end of lap 24. 2 laps of racing on this 5.9 kilometer circuit. We will get some high-speed explosive action here at Silverstone. We could get an interesting ending. Baby Daniel has caught right up again, and he's back in it.
When is he going to put his foot down? When is he going to make the shift up? When is he going to floor it? Now, just before the pit lane entrance, as he goes into the final complex of corners. It's a 5/10 into the corners, but 6/10 out of the corners. 7/10. It's a fantastic. He's made it 8/10 from the restart. Danny has left the Red Bull in the dust, and now he's got to keep his foot planted.
Dorian already getting his elbows out versus Damien. German Polyakov is in there, and Dorian takes 4th. There's Harry Nunn sending it up the inside of German Polyakov. They've both got time penalties. And I think German has lost the position. No, he hasn't. He's fought back. He's getting the toe from the Mercedes driver of Damien there. And he is going to hold. Ollie is going to make a good attempt. But German Polyakov going all the way very wide. And he's going to get a bit of wheel spin on the exit there. As we head down into the very fast cops corner. This is not a place you want to go side by side. And they have all backed off. Harry Nuns is in the battle of his life here. Marcel Biega has to be seen here.
A little bit of contact there, taken offline, but nothing too major. You see the Ferrari of German go just onto the rumble strip on the inside curb onto the hanger straight. Not much action really now, but the battling is intensifying as
Danny getting a bit out of shape there.
Coming around the final corner to begin the final lap of the British Grand Prix, leading Ballant by 1 second.
German Polyakov, I think that's his race done now. He gets another time penalty as Harry Nunn spins around on the last lap of the race. German Polyakov takes 5th place. A beautiful move that probably won't be rewarded much as he has 6 seconds of penalties Ollie sends it up the inside, gets a bit of front wing damage. Chaos all over the field there. Beaters a line in the Aston, looking to pounce on this massive fight. Barbosa is there as well. And Nils Holmgren is going to get overtaken by Marcel Biega here. As Beaters Alan has the opportunity, doesn't choose to take it.
He's gone for it there. What a lovely move.
He sent it up the inside, and Ollie has understeered into the Aston. He's understeered a bit more, and that is some dirty defending. They head into Woodcote. They head into Cubs. They're 3 wide, I think, on an angle into Cubs. They're side by side, and this is not a place they fight. Ollie with wing damage.
Oh,
a
bit of lag. But Barbosa has gone down the inside in Cop's corner. That's a fantastic move there from him. Fantastic. You got to be bold. You can't back out of it. Once you're in there, you're in there. You can't back out of it. Otherwise, you're going to back. But we see Marcel Biega going down the inside into.
As a Mercedes car is then rounding off the no penalty drivers as Damien has low battery and old tires, and it's going to be a send down the inside. The Mercs are fighting. Danny wins from Ballon from Boris, but it'll be Marcel Biega with a recovery of his life who gets P5. And Damien, a scintillating drive from 20th up to 6th place. 14 spots gained there.
Fantastic race. Really good battling.
Great racecraft. And a lot of battling. As Dorian gets driver of the day.
So he's going to take us through the final order then as we wrap up the British Grand Prix as Danny Pero wins by 1.7 seconds.
Danny Pearl, the winner in Silverstone. Balintelikas loses pole, but holds on to P2. Boris in 3rd. Dorian from 17th on the grid finishes in 4th place. Marcel Biega from 12th finishes 5th. F1 Damien, in my opinion, the driver of the day, 20th to 6th. Beaters Alan loses 5 places to finish 7th. His team of Barbosa right behind him in 8th. Nils Holmgren in 9th. Ski 1 in 10th. Duran Polyakov in the Ferrari with 9 seconds of penalties. He's down in 11th. Ollie in 12th. Bibin Daniel in 12th. Harry Nuns, Zach Miles, Walter, Evie, Antoni Sokolowski, Hydra, and Maximilian Jaros have failed to finish this race. And that was an end to a fantastic final few laps there of a British Grand Prix that delivered on all fronts. And we will see you again for the next race. Goodbye.